You have heroes like the Shadow Warrior, the Storm Sword of the Knights of No Men. But who really looks out for the little people? They came in the middle of the night. We had lookouts with alarms, but the raiders shot them down before they knew what was happening. The raiders have been a problem for us for a while. We would give them half our food, medicine, other supplies, and in return they gave us protection. By us, I mean the village of Stormall. I love my village and all its inhabitants. Every single one of my friends were there, including my good friend Cole. The village was nothing special. We pulled our weight so we could remain independent. Small village with houses, markets, even a wall to protect the village. We even had a tavern and made our own ales, which all other nearby villages wanted. We were all simple folk with simple needs. Work during the day, rest in the evening, sleep at night, and repeat. No real warriors among us. We only had tools to use as weapons, but the wooden walls were all we needed before the raiders. They'd been giving us trouble for 5 moons now. We always wanted to do something to stop them, but it wasn't until Fid spoke out that we started to plan. He pointed out that with the amount of supplies they take from us, they couldn't have more than 40 people. So we outnumbered them. They would normally send out a team of 10 to collect. If we killed them, then they would lose a quarter of their group. When the others would turn up wondering what happened, we could claim they never turned up, make them think they all got killed on the way. Nothing to do with us. So we dug a pit and filled it with sharp logs, so as the raiders rode into Stormall on the stone road, as they usually do, the scum at the front fell right into the spikes. As the others pulled their horses away from the spike pit, we fired arrows at them. None of us were the best shots, so we didn't expect to kill them all, but we thought we may as well do so before the meal began. Out of the 10 riders, 3 fell into the pit, 2 dying on impact. The 3rd died screaming in pain. We put an end to her suffering once the fighting was done. Another 3 died by our arrows. 2 were wounded by the arrows. That made them easier to kill. Out of the last 2, we killed 1, but the other got away. She hadn't bothered with the combat. As the others fought, she took her horse and got out as quickly as she could, which meant the raiders would know exactly what happened. They would now come for us. That's why we had lookouts and alarms on the walls, so we could defend when they attacked. So I woke up to the crackle of flame and screams of my fellow townsmen. I opened my bedroom window to see hundreds of raiders riding around with torches, looking like a swarm of fireflies. That shouldn't have happened. We had lookouts. They should have prevented an ambush. Before I knew it, my front door was off the hinges. There were too many for me, so I grabbed my axe and jumped out the window. I felt my ankle crack on impact. Out in the street was a giant free-for-all, raiders slaughtering all in their path. My people weren't fighting back. There was no way we could win, so they were just trying to survive. I decided to do the same. I snuck into a back alley. The lack of light in these areas meant I could remain undetected. A few of the houses were already aflame, so I had to be careful moving past. As I was limping past, someone on fire came crashing through the wall, followed by a raider, crushing his skull with an axe. That was when the raider noticed me. He tried swinging his axe at me, but it was still lodged in the villager. I swung my axe at him, striking a gash across his chest. The pain must have given him enough strength to free his axe, and he took his chance. I accidentally shifted my weight onto my crushed ankle, I collapsed to the ground. The raider struck at a burning support beam, ensnaring his axe for a second. I may have been in pain, but when your life is on the line, it's not a priority. Lying on my back in the mud, I went for the only part of the raider I could reach. His ankles. He went down with a thud. I clambered on top of him, straddling him. I used the edge of my axe to slit his throat. Once the life fled from his eyes, I fell to the floor in relief. That's when I noticed. In the raider's hand was a necklace bearing a moon symbol. You see, the necklace, it belonged to Triff. She baked the bread in Stormhall. She had lost her second child during birth, causing her husband Alan to become a regular at the tavern. He blamed her for the death since he wanted an heir. So one night after he drank enough courage in the tavern, he went home to Triff, missing her, and plunged his dagger into their daughter's heart. We captured Alan, blindfolded him, took him far away, and left him in the forest to fend for himself. Now Triff was lying next to me, burnt to a crisp. At least she's with her child. Knowing who she was always made me wonder who the raider was. Did he have a family? A wife? Maybe they were with him. Anyway, I forced myself up and continued through the back alley, finally getting to the exit of the town. The other villagers were already escaping, until fire arrows pierced their back. Not only were they in, but they were outside the village, circling the outskirts. Yet more appeared, making sure no one could flee. If I couldn't flee, I would have to hide and wait for them to leave. I don't know what happened next, but all of a sudden, I was in a back alleyway, looking at the main street. The street was mostly filled with the dead, and burning houses, but also the raiders still killing villagers. I ran as fast as my ankle would allow until I got to the tavern. Fire must have gotten to the ales, because when I was going past, the whole place erupted. I was thrown across the street in a blaze of fire. The bright orange was the last thing I saw before everything went black. It's all hazing, but I remember the taste of blood and dirt. Before I knew it, I was falling. For a moment I thought it was death, but then I was consumed by cool water to soothe my burns. I must have stumbled into a well. That's how I survived. Pure dumb luck. I was pulled out the next day by travellers. They got people from the next village to come over. Not all the villagers met their end in our village. The raiders had taken some with them, according to the people who saw them riding down the stone road. That means I have no idea what happened to my people. My friends, Carl and Finn. They could have burnt to death or still be alive and captured. Since I've lost everything, I've been sent over to the other village. But as I'm blind, there's nothing for me to do. No one will take a blind stranger, especially one who can't do anything for them. Maybe I should just ask for mercy. Thanks for listening. Click subscribe for new content. We are currently looking for voice actors. If you're interested, feel free to get in contact. If you enjoy our videos, then please consider clicking the donate link in the description to help with future projects. Also, click the Facebook link in the description to follow us on Facebook.